What's happening? It's another good day out here on Scott Family Farms. I'm in the shed. Today we're going to be working on the combine, the corn head specifically. The shed is pretty much done. Got all the lights up. We are going to do a bathroom in that corner back over there. So we're waiting to get that done and hang the heater. Has to be hung yet. So that's what we're waiting for on the shed, but it looks good. Nice and bright in here with all the white walls and everything and the new lights, so it's looking good. Today we're working on the corn head. We are replacing it with brand new Calmer parts, basically rebuilding the whole head. New chains, new stripper plates, new sprockets, new rollers, everything. So the reason we're doing this is our corn head is kind of old and it's not doing the greatest job of catching corn. So we decided to upgrade it and put whole new parts on it, basically rebuild the whole thing. These parts cost twice as much as what we paid for the corn head to begin with, so we're building a new corn head pretty much. I've got 2 boxes full of parts. And we're going to dig into it and see what we can come up with. Now this is one of the parts we're going to be replacing. You can see how it's getting some notches in there. Eventually this will wear out and start causing some damage. The chains are getting worn. Those will all be replaced. These plates in between, one is adjustable in and out, but those will get all replaced. This piece, the middle piece, is going to get replaced, and then the rollers underneath that actually pull the cordon down and cut it, those are getting replaced too. These are the old ones. The new ones have more blades on them and are supposed to do a better job of chopping and sizing. So another reason we're doing this is to size and chop all of our trash that's left after harvest. Hopefully this will do a better job of helping it break down over the winter, being sized right, and then we can use our vertical tillage machine, our TerraMax, to get it chopped up and buried just a little bit. We're hoping we can do a little less tillage that way. It worked really good last year. But we're hoping with this new corn head, it'll do even better. So there's not much left to do except try to figure out how to tear this thing apart so that I can put it back together. So we're going to get some wrenches out, some power tools, and start taking stuff off. That's a little more work than I thought it would be to get that end off. The end one is a little different because it has a stationary nose on it. And the other ones all fold up like this. I don't know if I'll have to take those off or not. We'll find out when we get in there. But the end one's set up a little differently. So to get the chain off of this, you have to take that off. Otherwise you can't get the chain out. And I have to get these plates off in the middle. Those have to come out. And the rollers underneath. So we're getting into it. We'll get there. It'll get easier as I go, I'm sure.
Wrong. 2 weeks later.
Well, we've made a lot of progress this week. It's been a busy week. A lot of work on this corn head. We've got a lot of the new parts. We have all the new parts put back on. Now we just got to get it all put back together. The snouts and the plastic parts that go on top, we got to get back on here. This is an older head, and it's a narrower row, 20-inch. So a lot of the parts on the new ones are easier to move or take off. But this one, we pretty much had to tear the whole thing apart just to get to the chains and the rollers and plates and everything that we needed to replace. So we have done that. We're tired. Took a lot of work, a lot of figuring, just took a lot of effort to get that done. So, but I'll show you guys what the new parts are and where they are. So down under here, the chains are new, all the new chains. The plates right here are new. This is where your corn comes into the head. And then there's rollers here that roll. They have knives on them. And those roll, and as they roll, they pull the stalk down, and then the actual ear of corn will get stripped off of that plant and go up into the head and into the middle of the combine and up into the bin where it's harvested. So all the new parts, the sprockets are new around the chains. They're a little bigger. But we had to take all the old parts off, and there was a lot of them. And there was some plates underneath that we had to take off that really sucked to get to from up underneath, and yeah, it was rough. Now you might be asking why we put all new parts on this corn head when it worked just fine last year. It did, but some of these parts are getting worn out. As you can see on these sprockets, you see how it's cupped pretty good there. That's all worn out and shot. It would still work for a while, but the new ones are much better. They'll be much more tight.
That's what she said.
That's what who said?
I never know. I just say it. I say stuff like that, you know, to lighten the tension when things sort of get hard.
That's what she said.
Hey, nice.
Everything will work better. The main reason is we had to replace these anyway. We had to replace the chains, and we didn't want to buy a whole new corn head. A new corn head is well over $100,000, and we didn't want to spend that kind of money. So we bought parts, all new parts, which was maybe a third of that cost, and replaced them all ourselves, and now we basically have a new head, aside from a few parts. But all the moving parts besides the auger are brand new. So we pretty much bought ourselves a new head for a third of the price. These are the rollers I'm underneath right now. We also had to modify these rollers, I guess. There was some blades we had to take off of those so that they're not as aggressive, because these are way more aggressive than the old ones. The old ones had 4 blades on them, and these each have 10, so quite a bit more aggressive. And that will size and chop all of the product that's coming through, all the corn stalks, and size them up nice and make it easier to break down over the winter. But there's a lot of new parts on this thing. Well, we think we got all the parts on the corn head that we need. We think. I guess we're about to find out. Dad's pulling out the combine out of the shed because we got to have the chopper and everything on to run the head. And once he gets it out here, we'll start it up and make sure everything rotates and moves how it's supposed to, and we'll see what we come up with.
That's what she said.
We'll see what we come up with. These are the rollers I'm underneath right now. We also had to modify these rollers. These are way more aggressive. everything's turning, so that's a good sign. We did have one spot that was hitting on a guard that had moved, but we installed a new piece on that, so it was hitting where it wasn't before. But everything started spinning, everything was working good. We cranked it up to full speed, and no knocking noises and no pieces flew off, so looks like we got everything where it needs to be. Now we just got to put all the snouts back on, and we'll be ready to go in corn.